Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So I've been doing a lot of dash cams and having a lot of fun with it. The wife has once again changed her mind about what direction she wants to go. She loved the install I did on my car with the Garmin Mini because it's totally stealth and you can't see it at all. It just does its job, but she loved the functionality from the Rexing V5 that's in her car, and she loves the rear cam and she loves the wider angle and all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to try to combine the two with the new M2 from Rexing. And I'm also going to combine this with one of the accessories that I have on hers now with the V5 with the indoor rear view. Now what this is a supplementary mirror camera. And you have to watch out. When you get these kinds of things, there's something very important you need to look into, and that's if it's only a screen or if it also functions as a normal mirror. In some locations, it's illegal not to have an actual mirror. And it's very important that the unit is able to function as a regular reflective glass mirror. This is. And that was also critical for me. I did not want her relying on just a screen as a rear view mirror. You can see that, hello, we have a normal reflective mirror when the screen is powered off. So yay, all good to go there. This is going to be super easy to install. It simply straps around your existing mirror. So you're not modifying your car. That was also very important to me. We just have simple controls, a power button here on the bottom. We have a front facing camera, and we should have a port right here to plug in an optional camera. Actually, I think it's that one there. And this is cool because it works with all the modules, the modular cameras that Rexing has. So I should be able to just plug in the existing in-car rear view camera that's on her car now and not have to change a thing. Now, alternatively, it does come with a rear view camera, and this is designed to mount outside the car. This is also an optional module. I already have one of these that I got separately because I wanted to try it out for her V5, but this is a waterproof outdoor rear view camera, and it's designed to mount by the license plate, and it has more than just a rear camera feature with this unit. Now with her V5, it's just a rear view camera, which is obviously very important and very cool. But when you use it with this unit, it also becomes a backup camera. And this is going to be a really cool unit for people with older cars or cars that just weren't spec'd up enough from the factory to have some of the smart car and enhanced features from the factory. You're going to get a rear view camera with guidelines. Now obviously it doesn't follow with the steering wheel like an OEM would, but you're going to get something, and if you mount this camera out there where they tell you to, they're going to be pretty accurate. Now she already has a built-in factory rear view backup camera, so we don't need that function, and all you do to enable it is connect this red wire to a certain point in your car where it detects if it's in reverse, and then automatically switches to a rear view camera. That's the only thing I'm not going to be installing because we don't need two in the car, but that's it, just a one-wire connection, super easy. Power is the same as any other dash cam. Stock, you get this 12-volt adapter, or you can get this, and this is the parking camera. If you're going to use parking mode, again, like any other dash cam, you need to use the parking cable. This monitors your car's battery voltage and makes sure that it doesn't run down, because in parking mode, the camera is always watching and it records if anything happens. Well, if you don't use this cable and you're running off straight power to your battery, it'll use all the battery power it can until it dies, and then your car's dead. So you do need this. This is only a $10 cable, and this is for hard wiring into your fuse box. Super easy. Now on this one, some, like the Garmin, are just straight wires. So it's up to you to get whatever fuse adapters you need. I went and got micro adapters at AutoZone, and yeah, I was afraid of this. It looked like on the website that it uses a built-in one, but this is the wrong size fuse for her car. This is called a Mini. And these are very popular. These have been what's been used for, I don't know, the last 20, 25 years. And then they have the full-size ones, which are the really older cars. But the new cars come with even smaller ones than these, called micro. So I'll just be snipping this off and using the bare wire and the adapters that I already have on the Garmin. And that's all there is to it. So we have one wire that goes to power, and then one that goes to the ground. Ground is going to be a connection right next to the fuse box, and that's it for the power. This unit also features a GPS unit, and this is optional. This is if you want to display your vehicle information on the video overlay, if you want to track your speed and actually see where you are in the video, and you can play all that back in the app and show it on a moving map. Completely optional. Some people don't care about this kind of information and don't want it displayed for whatever reason, so you don't have to use this, you don't have to plug it in. But it's there stock with the unit if you want it. And again, like the V5, they give you this cool trim tool, super handy for just tucking your wires under your trim and your headliner and all that kind of good stuff to route your cables. Very nice, handy tool that's functional. And then you have a simple USB cable just for transferring data directly from the camera to a computer, which you would never be doing with this particular unit. Well, maybe if you pulled it out of a crash or something, you can do that. But most people are simply going to be putting in the SD card right here and popping the SD card in and out to transfer their files when needed. And I'm just going to be pulling over the existing SD card that we have in the V5 and go into this. And again, like any dash cam, you do need to use a dash cam rated memory card like the SanDisk or the Kingston that I've recommended in the past, and I'll put links to everything down below so you can check it out. And we do have a speaker here, and this also comes with some features that are optional on a lot of cars these days, like blind spot monitoring and vehicle detection. It's more than just a dash cam. This is really kind of blurring the lines between advanced safety features and dash cam. So let's get it installed. So, slight change of plans. Wife ordered the wrong cable. This is the hardware kit, which is correct if you just want to auto power the camera with the car coming on and off. It's not the smart cable that will alter between on and off and automatically go into sleep mode and that kind of thing. So that cable's on the way. For now, we're just going to power it with the cigarette lighter adapter until it comes in, and we're getting it installed. One thing to note, if you have a big electronics box like this, make sure it doesn't block a lot of your camera. We had to extend the mirror all the way down, the actual mirror, just to be able to clear the lens to see out the front. You still see some of this in the corner of the video, like this much of it. So it's not a huge deal, but just be sure that you actually have a line of sight. The more important thing was the rear view camera. I wasn't sure if this was gonna work, but the actual indoor camera from the V5, even though it's the same plug, and even though this looks like the same optional camera with the exception of the reverse cable, is not compatible. So we did have to go and put this one in, and luckily it's got just enough angle on this rear window where it works as a rear cam. I mean, just a few degrees more and it wouldn't have, but we put that on the inside. I did not want to drill into your car. It's designed to mount just like a factory camera, like here. So you would, install it somewhere next to it, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to obstruct any of the lights or the factory camera or anything like that. So inside it went, and it actually worked very well. So no problems there. And I'm just routing the cables. Another note, if you have these rubber seals, it's a really great place to run your wires through, but make sure you are careful because this particular car is filled with this tar-like sealer underneath. And man, it gets everywhere. And I got some on the white headliner and had to spend some time cleaning that off. My car did not have any of that. They were just all, pulled off and none of the sealer. But the cable runs down here. There's a quick connect right about here. And the optional reverse cable, if you want to use that, is back here. And all you do is route it down to any of your reverse lights. Actually, they're in the door in this particular model. You just tie into one of the bulbs, one of the reverse light bulbs, and that detects if you're in reverse or not, and will automatically give you your backup cam stuff. And I'm just going down here under this seam here. Sorry if that's a little blurry, it's already nighttime. And all the way to the front, you can see it dripping down there. I'm working my way, pulling the old one out and running the new one right behind it, and it'll just go right up to the camera. So this is a current test at night. We have a very nice front picture, that is for sure, and it's completely customizable. what you see on the mirror itself is just a sliver of what's being recorded, and you can move that around easily with your finger just by dragging it on the physical mirror to center wherever you want. Not that you'd probably be using this with the front view on the display. You'd probably be looking at the back, which right here is the back. And again, you can switch it around and drag it around to see what you need to see. And dragging this all the way down, luckily, is just enough to actually function as a rear view display. Now, she has tinted windows and it's nighttime. And let me tell you what, it's freaking dark. It is definitely darker than the normal mirror. Even with the screen off, using this new display as a mirror, so I turned it off right now, it's kind of like a double tint. That's about as best as I can describe it. With her regular mirror, looking out the rear view at night, even through the tint, is no problem. And this is just like the tint has been doubled. It's about that amount. So it's not bad. I actually find it more useful at night here to use than the camera itself, because obviously your eyes have a much higher resolution than the back 1080p camera, and you're still just seeing a little tiny sliver. So it's really like 1920 by maybe 250 that you're actually looking at on the screen as the rear view mirror. I'm going to turn it back on here, and you do that just by tapping the glass anywhere. It's a very responsive touchscreen. It is absolutely instant, and the quality is excellent. Now, in lit areas like this parking lot, it's low resolution compared to the normal mirror, but you see things a lot clearer. It just takes a little bit of light for this sensor to really wake up. But in pitch black, the standard reflective mirror is a little bit better. So you're going to end up going back and forth if you're actually using the screen. I think some people like me are just going to be using this as a really stealth dash cam, front and rear, and then maybe using the screen as a backup camera, something like that. I don't know how many people would actually use this screen as their full-time rear view mirror. It is kind of cool. I'm driving right now, and it's like having a really lit up back mirror with those cars coming behind me, and they're lighting the road a little bit, but man, when the lights fall off and it just starts to go into shadow, it's just black. So there's no detail. Now, if I tap the mirror here again and turn the screen off, actually, sorry, you tap the power button to turn it off and let my eyes adjust a little bit, I do see more, again, just with the reflective mirror. So it's going to be personal preference, and certainly up to environmental conditions, which one you prefer. But very impressive. And of course, the front camera is just phenomenal, as all the Rexings have been. All right, so we're back in daylight, and we can see what the unit looks like. Hello. It is a normal mirror, as you can see, and during the day, I've got to actually tilt this up because my wife just got back from shopping. During the day, it is nearly identical to her regular mirror, which is behind the unit, and I don't notice anything unusual. Her back window, like I said, is tinted, and it's a little darker, but totally usable as a normal mirror. And this is how I would personally use it. You may use it with the screen. That's completely up to you. Let's see, let's focus on the back there so you can see that obviously this is just a reflective mirror, so it's very high res. Let's go ahead and start the car up. The unit will power on, and we'll see what the difference is between that and the screen itself. Turn the radio off. And there you can see, let me focus on the actual mirror now. So that is the screen. Let me see if I can keep it focused. There we go. So you can see it's very high res. Just a note, the instruction manual is out of date. This is an IPS panel. The manual is for the last version, which is a TFT. And there you can see the screen saver came on, which turns off the screen, and it goes back to a mirror. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go. So obviously, high res enough, absolutely, during the day to use as an actual rear view mirror. This is the screen. I mean, that looks great. Totally bright enough Let's go ahead and take it out on the road. So this also will give you a very clear indication of what it looks like compared to the full file. And you can change what sliver it's looking at just by dragging like this. And that's totally up to you what you want it to see. I'm very impressed with the actual processor in here. It is very fast, very fluid. Just tapping the screen brings controls up. You can swap between the front and rear cam just by tapping this. Extremely sensitive. Works like a treat. That weird flickering you see is just because I use LEDs, and the frame rate of the camera unit in here adapts to certain shutter speeds depending on the light. So it's running a little low shutter now because we're in the garage, and you see the flickering. Once we get outside, you won't see any of that. You can go into your settings, you can take a snapshot, you can save a clip. Now, like I said in my other Dashcam videos, there is no one perfect unit. There is no one unit that does everything. This particular one does everything important, at least to me, but there is a couple things that you give up, and you can see this goes way brighter. It's only on about 30%. You can do most of what you can with the V5 with this. One big thing it's missing that the V5 has, though, is app control. This is all self-contained. You don't need a phone at all to use this. So there's no linking with an account, no linking to a phone or tablet, nothing like that. Now, it's a plus to me because I don't want to have to use an app. I like everything in the unit itself. But if you get a ding or anything goes off while in parking mode, the V5 will send a notice to your phone. Whereas you only know something happened once you get back in the car and turn this on, and it'll tell you on the screen, hey, something happened, review your footage. So, you know, that's a little plus or minus. If you're concerned and you're in an area and you want to know right away if something happened, this is not for you. So bear that in mind. This also doesn't have voice control, but that isn't anything important to me personally. And the wife thought it would be really cool, and she turned it off after a day. So yeah, it wasn't important to her either. So if we go into the home button, and you have to stop the video recording to do any of the actual setup because it is in the middle of running, we can go back to Dashcam, which will go back into the normal recording. Smart Drive is the vehicle detection, lane keeping assist, that kind of thing. I'm not even going to set that up because, like I said, she's got it all built into the car anyway. But if you want to set that up, there's a whole calibration you have to go through, and you can set that up. And it also has blind spot detection out the back, so it can detect if cars are there in your blind spot, but it's only doing it visually. It's not doing it with any kind of sonar sensors. So don't expect it to be anywhere as accurate as the stuff built into cars these days. Then File Explorer, you can look at all the files that have been recorded on your card. Pretty self-explanatory. Camera settings is where you set up all the normal stuff. Your loop recording times, your resolution. Right now I have it on the highest res. It's going to record 1440p in the front and 1080p in the back. This screen here needs a bit of an update. There is no option for the back, so maybe that's why they don't even put it in the menu. This is just the front camera resolution that it's asking about, but not a big deal. Light source frequency, that's if you're basically in the US or not. 60 hertz for the US, 50 for most of the rest of the world. And that's your, like I said, frame rate and shutter speed, sync. G-sensor sensitivity, I can't speak today. G-sensor sensitivity, say that 5 times fast, is how much of an impact it needs to detect something in parking. You're just gonna have to trial and error it. We found medium to be sensitive enough to detect and not too sensitive where the wind would be setting it off or anything like that. Just play around with it. Rear mirror is when it's showing the rear camera view, it will flip or not. On is the default, and that makes it look just like you're looking in your rear view mirror. I don't know why you'd particularly want that off. On makes it correct. Mute recording is if you want it to record your audio or not. Timestamp if you want that on the video or not. And then parking monitor if you want that enabled or not. And it's off right now because we're still on the cord, which you you can use, it does have an internal battery and it will run parking monitor for a time. They don't specify how long, and it'll run off its internal power and then shut down. So it won't drain your car, even if you have the hardwire kit installed. But I still like the smart cable because then it will run indefinitely in parking monitor mode. So that's kind of cool. I'll still be switching to that. System settings is where you can format your card and set the beep on or off when you're pressing buttons, turn the sleep automatically on or off. If you want to turn it off at any time, you just press the power button, tap it anywhere to turn it back on, that kind of thing. Now, I don't have the GPS plugged in. It would plug in right up here, and you just stick it somewhere in your window so it can see the satellites, and that will detect your location and vehicle speed on the screen if you want that. Let's go take a look and see how the daytime footage looks. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. So looking at it here in full daylight, we are slightly overcast, but it's the middle of the afternoon, so it's as bright as it gets. It is definitely darker than the stock mirror. Now, looking out the rear window, it's fine. I can totally see traffic. Where I notice it different, thanks, Dick. Give me a second or anything. Jesus. Looking out the back window, it's fine. Even with her tint and even with it slightly darker, totally usable in the daytime. But looking in the back seat, I see no detail with my eyes looking at the rear seats. They're just completely shadowed. They're completely black. So definitely darker than a plain mirror. I wish it wasn't, but in order to get that, you need a really expensive OEM digital mirror setup. And they're not typically sold aftermarket. They're typically on very high-end luxury cars, sometimes as an option on those. And those are the only ones that give you a true high-quality optical mirror and a screen behind it. This is pretty much just like a screen with a reflective film. So it's good, but it's not the same. But anyway, the footage, I've already seen it, and it looks just as good as the V5. You know, it's 1440p, it's high enough resolution to read plates, and it's 30 frames per second, so it's fast enough to record anything that's happening in front of you or in back of you, and it's just great quality. Not much else to say. So wrapping up, what are my final thoughts? Here's what it looks like from the outside, by the way. You can see the camera there and the straps, the original mirror. That's a speaker on the other side. And it just sits there. And whether or not it's going to be totally flush is going to be up to what size your original mirror is. It may even stick off to the side. This is centered on hers, but obviously the larger mirrors, you'd have to scoot it off to one side or the other. So like I said, every system is going to have pros and cons. This one has a lot of pros. It's extremely stealth. Doesn't really get much stealthier. I mean, it's taking the place or overlapping what's already there. So you're not adding anything else to your windshield, not even a little thumb-sized Garmin Mini like in my car. Don't really notice it at all from the front. You would never know that there is a dash cam in the car if that's important to you. This is not as full-featured or optional featured as, say, the V5. You don't have the option to put in any kind of cabin cam. That's going to be important for people, you know, maybe you're doing ride sharing and you need something to record what's in your cabin, or you want to keep an eye on the kids or whatever. Sorry, this one can't do that. This one does have the rear camera, but it doesn't work with their already great inside the car rear camera. It's the waterproof outdoors, which of course I showed you. You can, at least on some cars, mount. You might have to fabricate something if the angle of your windscreen or your back window doesn't jive with the mounting bracket, but you know, that's not a total deal breaker. Of course, if you don't mind permanently modifying your car and you want to screw into something, well, there you go. I mean, that's totally doable. I just didn't want to do it on hers, especially since she's probably going to change her mind again. We'll probably have another system in here next week. This is the third one that she said was perfect. So, but she already found out that she's missing the app and missing the notifications. So, you know, we might be looking for another one, but she really loves the format of it built into the mirror, and the screen can't be beat. I mean, There are no other screens this size with this kind of resolution. I'm talking the inside screen to use the unit. That is phenomenal. This is by far the fastest processor I've ever used on a dash cam. Even the V5, which is a great unit, compared to this, laggy. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. But once you compare it to something better, you notice it. And there's just nothing wrong with the way this operates. There's no bugs. It's firmware updatable. It's just, you have to live within the features that it has, and that's true of any system. But if you're looking for something that fits the bill with this set of features, I highly recommend it. I love it. Like I said, we'll probably have something next week, so stay tuned. See you next time.